I was a software developer and project lead, and it didn't stop me to be fired. I lived in one of the most expensive cities in the world with high rent to pay, and my partner was pregnant with twins. But this was not the worst. But the worst thing was my self-confidence as a software developer hit a rock bottom. But a few months later, I was working for award-winning startup in UK and life was great. In this video, I will tell you how being fired changed my approach to the work. I will share with you 3 steps that I went through that you can quickly apply to yourself and become better developer much faster. And if you would like to learn more from experienced developer like me, please subscribe to the channel. But before we get there, how does senior developer with lots of experience get fired from his job? I was a leading developer on a project that's supposed to be updating the old system to the new one. There was some test coverage, but not enough so we can depend on it. I was on a project for about 2 months when I went on holiday, and when I come back, I got fired. I didn't understand what happened. I find out that the project was not progressing enough and I was fired because the flow progressed. I didn't see that coming, and this is one of those things that I learned how to improve. The thing that I learned to improve became a step 1 to become a better software developer. After I was let go, I had time to think, and after the self-pity and blaming the world for my misfortune, I realized that I need to look into myself and to see what can I improve, not to get into the same place as before. I look into myself, and that's where I find the first step toward better me. I had a feeling I did something wrong, but I was not sure what exactly was it. But only by sitting down and thinking about myself and what I did made me realize what was wrong. What I did wrong was that I didn't care. I didn't care because I was bored. I knew I had to find a mechanism to prevent me from being bored, or at least nudge me to tell me somehow, hey, you bored? Watch out. And I realized that the best way is to ask others. One of the reasons why I didn't expect to be fired was because I didn't have any feedback from my management. So this time I'll make sure that I'll have a feedback from wherever I go. Step 1. Have a feedback loop. How do you set up a feedback loop? After a couple of weeks, I found a new project and joined an edutech startup. The first thing that I did was to talk to CTO about my problem. I asked CTO for a list of things I'm responsible for, and 1 month later we set a date to review how I'm doing. We review my last month and set a date for another one with things to improve and things I'm doing well. After a few months, my self-confidence as a software developer improved drastically. I knew I can do my job and I knew I'm doing it well. But then I made a mistake. This is what led to step 2, to become a better developer. My default behavior in that time was to analyze the problem and find out what I did wrong. There's nothing wrong with this approach, but there's one thing missing. I didn't own it. I didn't own the mistake the way I was supposed to do. You need to say out loud, this was my mistake, I'm sorry. I will learn from it, it's not going to happen again. Don't get to the lengthy explanations why you made the mistake. It would look like you are looking for excuse. 99% of the time, your management will be happy that you own your mistake. Then you fess up and they can trust you next time. If you make a mistake, you will tell them about it. In another word, your trust will improve. So that was step number 2, owning your mistake. But there's a third step that helped me to get where I am today. It almost sounds like an obvious thing, but I've seen many people, including me, doing it incorrectly. When you work on a project, there's a lot of things going on. There are bugs, there are tickets, there are slight things to improve, there's a technical debt, and all these things go into the sprint. When you get them into the sprint, all these things get assigned different priorities. The way how you assign these priorities is up to you or up to other tech leads in your team. And this is what's important, the priorities of the ticket in your sprint. In the short term, one ticket looks like it might be bigger priority than the other one, especially if there's like a bug that looks like, oh my god, there's a bug, we need to fix it right now. But if this bug is just a typo and there are other problems or tickets that need to be improved that will have an impact in the long term, which ticket you should work on first? I don't think it's the bug, I think it's the other tickets. Learning how to prioritize tickets will save you bacon. If you learn how to prioritize and how to communicate about those priorities to the other parts of the team or the stakeholders or the users, that will make your life much happier and make you a better developer in the long run. So those were 3 steps I learned on my journey from being fired to being a tech lead in an award-winning edutech startup. But if you want to have a good time as a senior developer too, you need to learn how to estimate. Luckily for you, I showed a video about how to improve your estimation, and the video is right here.